Good evening, race fans. Hello and welcome to the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. We are here for the Firecracker 200, the prelude to Wednesday's Firecracker 400. David Schildhouse here, along with my broadcast partners, Parker Kligerman, Landon Cassill. We'll have our fourth member of the broadcast team, Kim Kuhn, joining us shortly from pit road. But boys, here we are. 2 weeks, the Fire Weeks have all led up to this week. So much anticipation. And now here we are ready for two races tonight. The first one, 200 miles around Daytona, the Firecracker 200, Parker. 344 racers showed up for a shot at this thing. We pared it down to 88. And now we've got them split into two, and it starts here tonight for an 80-lap or 200 miles.
Right, this is the final stage of the Firecracker 400 event. For these racers, obviously the 400 will be on Wednesday night, but this is the final round for these ones. This was the group that didn't make it into the fastest 43 of all our qualifiers from last week, but they did make it, as you said, out of that group of 344 to be the 43 that are able to go into the Firecracker 200, which is a $2,500 prize pool. It'll pay $500 to win this race, Landon. It pays you just your money back to start it. So these everyone in this one is a winner in some respects, considering 344 entered.
Yeah, and I mean it's a competitive race. I mean, we've got a lot of NASCAR Coca-Cola Series drivers in both fields, but a lot of eyes on Blake Reynolds in this field, a lot of eyes on Mitchell Hunt, a really competitive driver starting on the pole. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of unknowns. We saw a ton of crashes in the prelim races, and there's a big question of how many cars will finish this race, Parker. We have no resets. It's 200 miles. I'm watching practice right now, and I see a lot of wrecks. I think maybe my camera is set to most exciting.
That's all right. So that's going to be a thing. We'll get into those keys later. But, you know, David, we've all sat here, right, and watched this event unfold. And, you know, it started out as just basically something of mine and Landon's imagination. It became a reality. And then we saw it sort of, we released it and thought, all right, you know, how many people will we really get? Will we get 100 people, 150, maybe 200 if we're really lucky? Next thing we knew, we were having to open up signups to more people to get at the 344. And then we get in those prelim nights and chaos unfolded, right? Absolute chaos unfolded in front of us. But it really just started to sort of gather momentum when we've seen it on the social media. We've seen people talking about it, David. And I think that's been one of the most fun things about the last couple of weeks, has been watching this event captivate people out there, not only the racers, but viewers who've wanted to tune in and chat with us about this.
Yeah, I think we call that proof of concept, right? You put an idea out there, you don't really know what the reception is going to be like. A big, ambitious undertaking in the sim racing community. Bigger, I think, than anything I've seen, and we've seen some big projects around iRacing, but to have the backing that it's had, to have the drama that it's had, and everything that's on the line with this event, and to have it all come together, you just don't know what's going to happen. But it was a strong reaction from the community, a lot of backing, a lot of interest, and when you send home so many people from this event, and you see the reactions on social media and how much it means to them. That's how you know you really got a home run here. So now we get down to it, the meat and potatoes of this thing. We've had, you know, the appetizers and all of that. We got to get into the main course here and get down to the racing. And to go back to what Landon was saying about what do we see in this racing? Well, based on practice and from what other drivers have told me, it could get a little sketchy out there tonight. It could be a little scary. You know, we've seen some problems as we look at some of the keys to victory tonight. This is a whole different ballgame. Open setups, pack racing. I mean, these guys have been on track by themselves more than they've been together, it seems like, recently. So we get them all together, and you just don't know what can happen.
And we'll take over here. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Landon.
Well, I was going to say, I'd love to see your opinions, Parker, on what this drafting is going to look like. I don't think you can run in a pack. I think these drivers that have really worked on their setups are going to trim their cars out. The cars are going to be really loose in traffic. I think that you're going to see a lot of single file racing where you're going to be making strategic passes. I think if you see too wide racing, I'm going to be cringing for a wreck.
Well, and that's the thing. We put it in tonight's keys to victory. Why? Because do you feel a draft? the draft is there, and we've seen it. We saw it in the prelims, and we saw it when you have a lot of spoiler. But as David alluded to, this is an open setup. These drivers can put whatever they want in that setup, which means they can run anywhere between 10 degrees to 70 degrees on that spoiler, which means they can either add a ton of grip or have no grip and go for speed. So the draft, if it exists, or if you are in the draft, it could be that you have a setup that maybe isn't the fastest by itself, but you're hoping to be faster late in the run. Or you're just trying to get away from the field by running a super low spoiler, which means tire wear would be the next thing, Landon. You and I have experienced in these cars a ton of tire wear, and that's what makes them really fun over the long run, but you really need to conserve tires in them.
Well, I mean, absolutely. And if you guys can remember from 2 weeks ago during the prelims, every time we got 5 laps in a row without having a caution, I pointed out that something would happen. There was always a moment because 5 laps on tires seemed to be when the tires got up to temperature and started to see some wear and the drivers had to hang on to their cars. That was with a fixed setup with a 70-degree spoiler. Most of these drivers, to my knowledge, are running 40-degree spoilers or less. There's some drivers out there trying to get away with a 10-degree spoiler. So that is going to be a huge factor. That spoiler angle is also going to affect your fuel mileage. Can you run wide open if you have a lot of downforce built into the car, use up a lot of fuel? Or is you're running a 10-degree spoiler, you're lifting a lot through the corners, you're going to get better fuel mileage? How's that going to work out, Parker?
Yeah, that's the key. And so exactly like you said, there's a lot of factors there because it's open setup. You're going to be, messing with what can you get away with in terms of your tire wear. How far can you go if you protect those tires? Then it's fuel usage, like you said. What's the fuel mileage going to be? What's your window here throughout this? And then lastly, we've alluded to it, David, no resets. You do not get a second chance in this race. It is one shot. Take care of that race car, and if you get it damaged or get too much caught in the big one or something like that, your night is done. Over. Go home. So keep those cars in one piece.
I think we like that. The no resets, the no second chances. You got what you got. You got to play with the hand that you're dealt. I think that just adds to the intrigue. All I heard while you two were talking about all the setup stuff was options. These drivers all have options of how they want to approach this race, and you can talk about all the things that led up to this event, the variable weather and qualifying and all of that. You can talk about all that, but at this point, when drivers have options, that's when you're going to get the most exciting and interesting racing, in my opinion. And I think because we've given the drivers the ability to have all these different options, everyone's to benefit for that. So I really like that a lot. And we can focus on the racing and see just how creative these teams have gotten. We have teams working together. It's not just the drivers on their own. They have, their eNASCAR teams or their other iRacing teams that they're working with to build these setups, test together, and show up to the track with the best product possible. Now, the question becomes, who shows up with what? Did they show up with more stability or more speed? Everything's a compromise. Landon, Parker, you both understand this. Landon, I'll ask you first on this. When you make a compromise at a track like Daytona, you got to give up something to get something. How do you sleep at night knowing you're not getting everything? It's compromise for speed, for handling, and everything in between. There's going to be a ton of excitement in the race, and during this race, as you're following along tonight, Wednesday night, please use the hashtag Firecracker 400. Tonight, use the hashtag Firecracker 200. We're going to have Kim Kuhn, who I want to introduce to the broadcast. She's going to be following along. She's going to be our pit reporter. Kim, have you seen anything on social media yet?
Just kind of monitoring it right now, getting started. Like you said, Landon, reminding all the folks that are on social media and watching tonight's race to use that hashtag Firecracker 200. And again, I'll be monitoring it and maybe sharing some of the best tweets. So get creative with the tweets, and then monitoring some of the driver action too. So standard pit reporting, doing it from the comforts of my own home. So we'll bring you guys all the good information both tonight and on Wednesday.
How cool, man.
Awesome.
This is so cool. Look, I can't wait to see what tweets we get now that we've sort of got a fourth picture above us. I mean, we usually get the suit review. McCandless is in this race, so I don't think we'll get a suit review, but really, really cool stuff to see that. So it'll be cool to have Kim a part of this as well. But definitely use the social media. Keep the conversation going in chat as well, on Twitch, on Facebook, on Twitter. We look forward to interacting with everybody and hope that you do enjoy all the racing that's coming your way tonight and on Wednesday as well. Of course, a big shout out to the partners and sponsors involved with this event. Couldn't do it without them. INFRA Solutions, of course, being the title sponsor of this event. Huge for them to come on and back this event as well for us. So big shout out to them and everyone else involved to bring all this together for us. So we're getting ready to hit the grid here, boys. Any last thoughts before we do that?
I'm just time to go racing, see some racing, and that's what we've all been looking for and wanting to happen. So let's do it.
I'm ready. Let's go, Parker.
If they're ready, I'm ready. I hope you're ready as well at home for the first night of 2 of all the racing that we've been building up to. So with that being said, it's time for us to take a look at tonight's starting lineup for the Firecracker 200. And leading them to the green flag will be one of the names that we talked about at the top of the show, Mitchell Hunt. In that pole position to his outside is going to be eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series driver Blake Reynolds. Mike Rasmus will line up in the 3rd position. Jake Poulin to his outside in 4th. Matt Everhart in 5th. Blake McCandless 6th. Nathan Rabidou, we call him Rabidabadoo here, in the 7th position. Alex Kolonix in the 8th spot. Nick Morse in 9th. And Aaron Smith will round out the top 10, Parker.
Right, and you have Tom Abermitis there on the inside of row 6. Gary Cronowit in the outside of row 6. Gary Sexton, 00 car there on the inside of row 7. Craig Arvanites on the outside of row 7. Andy Hunter, Michael Jeans, Keith Jeffrey, who's running a mustache tonight and also looking in his best 80s look, and Steph Marinac off on the outside of row 9.
All right, row 10, we've got Gilles Chatelain and Dylan Thomas as Big Green Egg Racing just gifted some subs in the Twitch chat. Brian Mullen, row 11. Justin Patello, Twitch streamer. You could probably check him out. I bet he's got some in-car camera footage tonight. Devin Henry, and Barrett Polimas in row 12.
It's going to be Logan Hagerman in that 25th spot. Peter Bennett from Burton Kligerman Esports in 26th, all the way from across the pond. Will Weber in 27th. Manon Rahman in 28th. Caden Rush 29th. Christian Sanford rounds out the top 30. That'll be Nick Holland in 31st. Kenny Kibbe in 32nd. Kyle Trudell 33rd. Colton Harvey in 34th. Brennan Mergda in 35th. Shane Iliff in 36th. Marshall Gable in 37th. Aaron McAcker in 38th. Brett Punkari, 39th. Trevor Perry, way back there in the 40th position. And Garrett Smithley, our dear friend, in one of the most put together in the last second looking rigs I've ever seen in my life. If you looked at his tweet earlier today, all the way back there, shotgun on the field in 41st. I feel for Garrett, but he's giving it the old college try.
We'll have to get that on the screen. It's a comfy sofa. It looks like to me. Yeah, there it is. Oh, that's awesome.
He's got a monitor propped up against books. I mean, my goodness, that is dedication right there.
Thank you.
I mean, you talk about the rigs. We talked a lot about the Pro Invitational Timmy Hills rig, right? That is a whole nother level of low end rig. I mean, people ask all the time, what's it take? What do I need to get into sim racing? Do I need this crazy, huge, really expensive setup, $1,000, $1,500, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000? Nope. That's how you can do it. You can get some books, a monitor that doesn't even have an ability to stand up by itself, a wheel, and a keyboard.
That's incredible. That is truly, I mean, that's
I love that.
Doing what it takes to race, right? I mean, that's really doing whatever you have to do to be in this race. Of course, we talked about Garrett Smithley and how close he came to being able to put down a qualifying lap, and he just missed it by a couple of seconds getting into the server, but we still let him run that ceremonial lap, if you will, and you get a look at it here in the Radius car. Radius Bob, very active today on social media, Landon, and it was a feel-good story even though he didn't get to put down that lap. Yeah,
I know. We love seeing the Radius machine in the field, and Garrett had obviously dominated his prelim race. Just had a lot of tough luck in qualifying. So we will have a couple Radius cars on Wednesday night in the Firecracker 400. It looks like right in front of Garrett, Trevor Perry in the Trans Service house car. Yeah, that's that right there. That number 13. That thing looks good. So hopefully the two house cars can kind of keep it in one piece. Parker, it's tough to see from this angle, but it's a long way ahead of these guys. 40 more cars, and it's hard to miss these wrecks when they happen. I mean, they're going to happen. It's hard to miss them. You got to stay high. You don't know if you need to go low. I mean, it's really hard to predict where cars are going to go.
I mean, that's part of the the issue starting all the way back in the field and some drivers I think want to get back there. There's a couple that we've heard about who have been saying, all right, can I go to the back because it's the safest spot, because that's where I feel like I'm going to be able to miss these wrecks that may happen or inevitably will happen. And then there's others that probably want to stay at the front and try to get away from the field. So it's like real life. It's the same strategies. But I really do believe, if we do have that big one, the big wreck, that's going to knock out so many cars that we're almost guaranteed to have some long stretches of green flag running, because when you get a little extra cars out there, it just obviously takes away the chances for having yellows.
Another one of the cars that we'll keep an eye on that may get some sponsor time here, depending on how those wrecks play out. Of course, Ventrac. We'll have the Ventrac blowover blowover count as well. So certainly one to keep an eye on there. Hopefully we don't see any blowovers, but I think the possibility certainly exists given our circumstances and the propensity of these cars to do a blowover when they get turned around backwards. So you talked about
awesome.
Of course, you love to see it.
What's the Ventrac count at? Let's get everybody up to speed.
I think
anybody
we're
that missed
at
the
3, right?
I think we're at 4. We're at 4.
Oh, we're at 4. Okay,
Yeah,
we're 4. There you go.
4. There it is.
So those for the prelims. We didn't have a blowover in qualifying, although some came close. We never got a blowover, so we're sitting at 4 from the prelims. And I would say about 43 drivers here are hoping that stays at 4. But I don't think it will. So I think we'll
you don't want to be the first. You don't want to be the first one to blow over in this race. But you know what? We'll see what happens over the next 80 laps as you take a look at Barney there waiting to throw the green flag on this event. The field works onto the front straightaway. Pace car makes the hard left-hand turn onto pit road. Mitchell Hunt will bring him down, and the green flag is out for the Firecracker 200. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hope you enjoy this event. Kick back, relaxing, and we'll see how it all plays out as they go 2 by 2 down into turn 1. Blake Reynolds with the big push on the outside from Blake McCandless.
Looks like you see some guys already drop into the back. Parker, I saw some cars under the yellow line, didn't know what they were doing. So a lot of conservative plays going on right now, but Blake McCandless right on the tail end of Blake Reynolds there, trying to push him to the top spot.
Nick Morse down there below the yellow line. As well as you saw in the 12 car and a little bit further back in the pack, we're on the onboard Blake McCandless right now. I like to call him McCandles. He says I'm the only one allowed to do that, so I'll use it when I can. But we're in a pack here, but it looks like people are giving each other room. They're not seeing a ton of 3 or 4 wide, obviously. We should note, when you see cars go below the yellow line and make a pass, that is legal. It was legal back in 1980s. It's legal right here. Oh!
No! Lap 1.
Oh, no, McCandless is in it. Rabideau's in it. This is going to be most of the field right here. Oh my gosh.
Huge. Was that Mitchell Hunt?
I believe it was Mitchell Hunt who lost it.
Matt Everhart up and over on his roof, but it all started right at the front with Mitchell Hunt. Got loose by himself, overcorrects, hip checks Blake McCandless up into the wall, and it is a melee from there as we take a look at the replay. Worst possible place for that to happen, and so early on.
Devastating. I was just saying how good they were doing. They were giving each other a ton of room. It looked great, and then, that happened. Darn.
That is, we were worried about it. We were. This is what we all feared, right? Whether it's real life or in sim, when you come to these tracks, that's what you fear is the big one, and we get it here early on lap 2, right up at the front of the field. We talked about where's the safest place to be, in the front, in the back. How do you avoid this? And when it breaks out in the front, everybody's at risk right there, and there's a number of cars tore up in this one, Landon. It just, we saw it happen, guys. Just lose it.
Only a couple made it through. I'm seeing Gary Sexton, the 00 for Elliott Sadler Esports, made it through with a little bit of damage. Here's Nicholas Morse. riding alongside. Oh, and just it's heavy damage for Nicholas Morse.
That has got to be so deflating as a driver, Parker, when you get all this buildup, all this anticipation, and all this preparation, and you get to go basically one clean lap, and then your race is pretty much over or severely affected.
And the thing is, Mitchell Hunt is going to have made not many friends there, because it looked like, to me, a lot of the field was being very smart. You had groups of drivers who were dropping to the back. You had, as we see, a large portion of this field is going to come down pit road, whether to fix damage, put tires on it, so on and so forth. But you had a lot of room being given, a lot of people doing give and take early on, and then for a leader up there in the top 3 to have that issue, of course it's going to collect a lot of cars, but that's just frustrating.
And it's just a really tough break for Blake McCandless, who just had nowhere to go right behind him and got kind of tank slapped up into the fence. These cars are loose, man. I ran the last practice race. That these guys we had put up in the practice servers, and I got loose with a car within a half a car length behind me, got sideways, overcorrected, sent it right up into the fence, just like what Mitchell Hunt did right there. So definitely gonna send a message to some of the guys in the 400 on ways that you need to protect your car for Wednesday night.
Well, it means get your car under control, right? Because you can't win this race from the garage or totally broken, destroyed. So, it goes, when you and I have done races like this, we looked at judging, could we drive a setup, right? And that's some of it. Like in real life, you don't put a setup in because it's so fast and be like, man, I'll never be laying on this for 20 laps. Like, that's not usually a risk you would take if you want to try and win a race. And, I think for some of these drivers throughout, that are looking at this and looking towards the 400 are saying, wait a second, I might have a really, really loose car. I might need to tone that back.
Well, let's bring in Kim Coombe and see what she has to say. Kim, what do you got?
Well, before the race, Mitchell Hunt had said that he thought he would actually have a good potential to wreck. His car was totally trimmed out, had that low downforce end that he had set it up for, so not handling well. You saw the results of that. So rough start for Mitchell, but he kind of knew it going in based on how he had set the car up.
All right,
man.
Kim.
Well, thank you, Kim. That's a great report, and really that just tells you the balance that we were talking about between trimming your car out and having a really loose car built for speed, or putting some spoiler up. One thing that I think is important that maybe some guys in the 400 need to take note of, and that Mitchell might reflect on now, is that you can adjust the spoiler angle in a pit stop. So, why not start the race with your spoiler at 50, 60 degrees? Just get some solid laps in, get under your, get some laps under your belt. Maybe first pit stop, knock the spoiler back 10 degrees. Second pit stop, knock it back another 10 degrees, and work your way down to 20 or 10 degree spoiler at the end of the race.
So we had 35 cars hit pit road. 35 cars hit pit road during this yellow flag. Parker, how many of them do you think put that spoiler up?
I'm hoping all of them. And I think that was a great point, Landon. We haven't really gotten into. You can make that change in a pit stop. Like, what are you doing starting off so loose if you can do that late in the race? And when even in the Indy 500 right now, modern day Indy 500, that will happen. They're still allowed to make downforce adjustments, and they will do that through a race. That actually occurs. So, when you have cars like this where that adjustment is available, you take advantage of it. You make those adjustments through the race because that's just how you survive. It's how you put yourself in position to try and win one of these.
Well, certainly a lot of chatter amongst the drivers after that one, as we'll take this next restart from On Board with J-Bo, Justin Botello, Twitch streamer, Outrun Esports representative, and Barney gets that green flag presented by Big Green Egg back in the air. Blake Reynolds will lead the field back to green as we get going, and now really what we'll be looking for, the clean cars versus the beat-up cars, how they get up through the gears up to speed, and ultimately how they can avoid each other, because there's definitely going to be some differential in speed.
It's a big lead for Blake Reynolds right off the bat. With the fixed setup in the prelims, Parker, we would have seen him get gobbled up by the end of the straightaway, but with his car trimmed out, he might be able to defend the lead a little bit better.
Yeah, and one thing we might have to our advantage here in seeing some green flag laps is they all started single file, of course, so they're a little bit more spread out here, but as we see... Oh, wait. I'm sorry, I couldn't see exactly who that was on the outside. It's the 22 of Collins. Yep, he's going the outside of Blake Reynolds. So they actually gained right back up to him, but he's able to hold them off, and he's not having to do what you see in modern day, protect the high side and the bottom side. They're not going to do that too much. These cars are really hard to drive just to the corner, so you use a lot of the racetrack. You're going to dime in the corner a little bit, and you're not going to quite see the blocking moves, especially hopefully early on, that you would see in modern day NASCAR right now.
I don't know why this looked more aggressive than I was anticipating, though. Just changing lanes, and maybe that's from the car that I drove earlier, was really, really loose. So, changing lanes down the straightaway is not an easy thing.
Are you saying you're handling bad down the straightaway?
I was handling bad down the straightaway. Yeah, the car that I drove earlier today was trimmed out. It had a 10-degree spoiler, and I wrecked it 3 laps in. So
normally that's a motor problem, but apparently yours actually had the handling issue.
They're coming up on. It's like
Michael Jean's there. Oh, he got clipped. He got clipped by a car, and he spins just by himself down in the grass. He got clipped by somebody. Who was that clipped him? It was that was Craig Arvanitis that clipped him on the apron. Oh my gosh, that was unbelievable. As we got a change for the lead now going into 3. I'll put Blake Reynolds back to 2nd. Great move by Alex there to take over that top spot.
Yeah, from the outside.
That was a power move. He was really loose off of turn 2, but gathered up, got the run on the 3 of Blake Reynolds as Blake Reynolds shoots back to the inside using a bit of draft. This is a heck of a battle at the front.
Let's see what happened to Jeans that lap ago on the apron.
It was close. I mean, that's...
Oh, just sliding a little bit. Oh, it looks like he just clipped the apron and just kind of had to save it.
Well, the angle that I had that I looked at, it looked like there was contact. Perhaps it was just my angle that... but, in either event, we continue on, and tough break for Jeans as he's just getting out of the way there. But things seem to be settled out for the time being. I'll say tentatively as they're single file for the first 4 or 5 spots. It seems to be fairly calm. A couple cars on the high side. Everyone seems to be favoring the bottom right now. So perhaps, again, that's dictated by the handling of these cars or everyone just trying to log some laps right now. But, again, I don't see any of the huge aggressive moves like we saw in the preliminary races.
David, one thing that's interesting, it's worth noting for this race and for Wednesday's race, in the sim, we had the green flag start time just like in 1987 at 10 a.m. So the track temp right now is 170 degrees, even though it's 92 degrees out in Daytona. The track temp is 107 degrees. So it's 10:15 a.m. in the sim. As this race goes on, it's going to finish around 11:30 in the sim. It's going to get a lot warmer for the Firecracker 400 on Wednesday. That's going to be a 3.5-hour race. It's going to be 1 o'clock. It's going to get very slick, like a lot like what we saw in second round qualifying.
Hot and slick, just what these drivers like when they're already struggling for grip, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
As if they needed any more complications added into the mix. Let's make the track hotter and slicker as Blake Reynolds has taken the top spot back. That's Steph Marinac in the 3rd position, Nick Morse in 4th, and Craig Arvanitis there in the 5th spot. So again, single file throughout the field. Everyone again now seemingly getting into that position where they're just comfortable to ride. They know what sort of handling they have right now, not trying to make anything big happen, so they can just log some laps. The field fairly well spread out. Everyone in that single file around the bottom. A little bit of separation, but still, I mean, it's about 4 seconds back to the 22nd position with Christian Sanford. So everyone just getting their laps in, but you got to feel for those guys knocked out in that lap 2 wreck. Guys like Blake McCandless, who we've talked about so much, not going to get the finish he was looking for here. He's still on the lead lap. That vehicle highly damaged. They go side by side for the lead, and we'll put the 22 back out in front.
It's an aggressive move for Alex to take the lead. It kind of puts Blake in an awkward spot because he's side by side now. He's a little boxed in and may not be totally comfortable being on the outside of the 12 of Morse. Because you're really, like we saw earlier, you're at the mercy of the guy below you. If he gets loose and overcorrects, I mean, there's just no way to save it. You're going into the wall with him.
Damage there on Morse's front end. I mean, not slowing him down one bit. He goes for the lead.
3 wide. Oh my gosh. What are we doing, guys? Lap
what a
13.
move.
Oh boy.
allows Blake to clear. I would say the damage on Morse's car just wasn't, didn't help his run.
We should say you do get away with a bit of damage in these cars because they weren't aerodynamically great to begin with. So back then they didn't really know what they were doing aerodynamically. So you can get away with a little damage because it's not going to affect things too much. They didn't have a lot of aero to start.
Parker,
It's getting dicey.
At what point do they start spreading out? I mean, are we going to see one car down in the super stretch sideways? There's no caution for that. I didn't see any contact.
That's the 79 of Brett Polimas right there. He hit the apron and just got spun around by himself. He was already loose in the middle of the corner, chased it down to the apron, and she just looped around off it too. Yeah,
let's get a replay on that.
Get us to be more spread out by now, but I mean we're getting back into a pack. It's going the opposite way. The tires are wearing, the cars are handling worse, and we're now getting closer together. I wonder if this is a lot of these drivers maybe that we're not spinning out have actually put a lot more spoiler in at the beginning of this race and are going for the strategy you talked about, which is they'll start taking that away as we get later in the race. There's less cars. Maybe there's been some attrition where they want to go for outright speed and just try to hang on for the win.
Well, here's a look at what happened to Polimas right here. Yeah, he's sideways getting in the corners. It looked like what happened to Mitchell Hunt, who was right behind him. It looked like what happened to Hunt on lap 2.
Yeah.
Except he saved it.
These cars get really loose when someone's on your bumper. Really loose.
One thing to remember, Parker, is Blake Reynolds, your leader, did not pit. So he did not knock his spoiler up or back or whatever. We don't know.
Well, he might have started. He might have started with more spoiler, I'm saying. He didn't spin out. Yeah. So he's been good for the start.
Huh. The interesting thing to me, guys, that I've noticed is looking at the speeds. We've talked about speed and stability. We talk about speed. We spent most of the single car qualifying days looking at speed, single car speed as they would get down the straightaways into the corners, talking about 213 into 1, 216 into 3. I look at the speeds there's contact between Nick Morse and Collins. Collins is trying to save it, and he does. What a job holding onto that car. Oh, my goodness.
Wow, what a drive. We're getting to about 16 laps on tires for these guys that haven't pitted and taken tires. That is going to spread out the lead group a little bit.
We need another look at that, guys. That was absolutely incredible. He held on to that car. How did that work?
That was, certainly some chirping between the two drivers after that. They had differing opinions as to why that happened, but what a save by Alex Kolonix right there, holding onto that thing in the tri-oval. Remember, the tri-oval is a really hard place. There's less banking. You're going the same speed than you have in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and he saved that thing. It was waving the rear end out there. I don't know how he held onto that thing. Wow, that was impressive. Back to the point I was making about speed, as I watched these cars in these packs, we talked about hitting 216 down the back straightaway by themselves. To give you an idea of how much the setups have changed as they're running in these configurations, I haven't seen them hit 214 in a pack yet for the most part. It's usually around 212 or 213 in the pack.
So there was a kind of 2 incidents at the same time, but up here, Alex Kolonix, just a little contact with Morse. There's your save. Wow. And he just did what you have to do. He lifted, he just got out of the gas, lifted, gathered it back up, and now he's still in 5th. He's got his car in one piece.
Lucky to have it. Very lucky to have it, I would say. Well, that'll get your attention, Parker.
Well, and I want to take this the second to get other viewers' attention. Those that watching on Facebook, I am in the chat on eRacer GG's Facebook. So if you're watching there live with all of us, I'll be commenting in the chat as well. And if you've got comments in that, I might bring them into the broadcast. So please do, if you're watching on Facebook, get in the chat, get active, and you might end up on the broadcast.
There you go.
There was something that happened in the pack because the field is super spread out right now. I don't know what it is. I'm going to try and track it down, but there was something that happened because what was our big pack is no longer. They're very, very spread out. I don't know what it is. I'm going to try and find it here and see, but something took place on the track that took the 11th place car and put them almost 12 seconds behind the leaders. And I think I found it here. It was between Brennan Merdza. That's who it was. Brennan Merdza, and contact between him and Marshall Gable. And Gable just comes up the track and door checks the 45 and keeps on digging. No caution. And unfortunately, it involved Keith Jeffrey as well. Jeffrey had nowhere to go. And I can't believe we didn't get a yellow for that, because they were scattered everywhere. And that's why we're all spread out right now.
Well, we're at lap 20 here, 21. And how far can they go on fuel, Landon?
About 35 to 37, I think. Maybe less than that.
So we get a replay here of what happened back there, David.
Yep, that's Marshall Gable. Oh, and there was some contact there.
You know, he's struggled with the handling on his car. Marshall did in both of his qualifying runs. Looped it on the first one, nearly looped it on the second one. And it's just, he's been fighting the handling of that car.
What a save right there. It was that Morse. I think it was Morse and Kolonix, who can't get away from each other, by the way.
A new rivalry is being formed right here in the Firecracker 200 in front of your eyes. Nicholas Morse and Alex Kolonix are going at it lap after lap.
They do not like each other, and all that's doing is allowing Blake Reynolds to run away with the lead here. If they're gonna be busy with a
I mean, Alex is like a cat with 9 lives. I'd say that's 2. I don't know where he was at on that first wreck, on that lap 1 wreck, but that's definitely 2 lives. So we're gonna have to watch Alex. He does have a little damage on his car now, so he has made some contact.
Oh my gosh.
You know, in real life, team owners love to see drivers who maybe are a little wild and they think, you know, hey, but can do crazy things. They've got the talent, and they can, they think, oh, maybe I can tone them down. It's easier to do that than try to get them to go fast and fire them up. I think if there's any esports team owners out there right now watching this broadcast first time, wanting to take notes of some drivers maybe they don't know are out there, Alex Kolonix right now might be making a name for himself, because this has been an incredible display of car control. Amazing.
Bring in Kim and see what's cooking with our leader, Blake Reynolds.
Yeah, well, Blake right now looking pretty untouchable, schooling the field. He's made his way out front, significant lead, and that's no surprise, especially to the competitors. He was fast in practice, and actually the chatter among the drivers was that Blake was going to be the one with the target on his back, based on everything that they saw in practice and qualifying, and certainly he's got that target on his back right now. Field's moving a little closer to him, and it's Daytona, so you never know what might happen, but Blake Reynolds doing very well, and it's no surprise to any of the drivers out there. If that name, too, sounds familiar, Blake drives Austin Dillon's car in the World Championship iRacing Series.
All right.
Indeed.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Kim. Blake, Blake is that cut line heartbreak for me. You know, he was a guy that we'd love to see in that 400, and it just qualifying, the timing just didn't go his way. It is not what he needed. You know, he's got the speed. He tweeted afterwards that he had a lot of confidence that he could win this, so there was definitely some plus side to it, and he's got a good looking car.
He does. Coming up on a couple of slow cars there. Chat's making fun of me because I wasn't looking up in the right direction. Like, I know where the heck I'm supposed to be looking. Lucky you just get to see this. This is amazing. They bypass a couple of slower cars. It's Garrett Smithley in the Radius car, and Will Weber as well. The 2 wounded cars there they're working past, but they've found Blake Reynolds. They brought him back. But I'm more interested in watching this whole Kolonix Morse rivalry. I mean, Landon, let me ask you this: when you start getting at odds with a guy in a race you can't get away from each other in. I mean, that kind of makes it a little awkward, doesn't it?
It can, and especially this early in the race, David, Parker can attest to this. They're both thinking about the other driver like, hey man, just chill out. You chill out, I'll chill out. Let's just chill out. It's lap 26. But for some reason, neither of them's chilling out. So I'll take the good racing. That's good for us.
Well, I'm impressed also that just how much they're able to slide around and knowing these tires are going away and they're continuing to, be so aggressive around each other and knowing the handling's going away. I think we're starting to see it tone down just a little bit, Landon, in terms of getting more single file like we would have seen back in the mid to late 80s. So we're replicating things pretty well here as I say that, Nicholas Morse decides, I'm going to go for the inside here on Blake Reynolds and try to take the lead.
And that comes with a big push from Alex Kolonix, who, with these... Oh!
Whoa!
Sideways leader is wrecking. No
My
blowover.
gosh.
And a lot of chirping. A lot of radio chatter from Kolonix as well as Nick Morse was spinning down to the inside.
And there were that... So, wow, we're going to have to see what just went down there in terms of those two. We're going to need a replay on this one.
There was no contact. The only contact was between Morse and the apron, and around goes Morse. And Morse just confirmed that on the radio that he just got loose.
Just lost it.
And he got tagged by Caden Rush.
Wow. All that effort. And guys, we were rumbling towards green flag pit stops. This actually was big for Blake Reynolds, who had not pitted what a lot of cars did there on lap 3. So he was going to have to go down early, probably not have many drafting partners, considering only about, I think, 4 or 5 cars stayed out that weren't really around him. So this was actually very helpful for Blake Reynolds, who would probably have had to pit early and away from this whole pack and maybe not had the drafting help when he came out of the pits.
Wow. Well, that certainly throws a wrench into the equation. We talked about the 5 or 6 cars that stayed out on track under the first yellow. And now this will bring everybody back together in a literal and figurative sense. But yeah, I mean, that shows you that onboard shot that we saw with Morris. That shows you just how on edge that car was out front, and just a little slip up getting that apron around he went. It could have been a lot worse for him. It could have been a lot worse for the entire field as the field comes down to pit road to take their service here. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel, I would imagine. Maybe some adjustments, particularly to that spoiler area.
Yeah, it's hard to say what kind of adjustments you would want. If you're Blake Reynolds, I think you're probably pretty happy with your car. You're just trying to shake some of these guys that you can probably beat. I would imagine the way that Blake's car looks, he might have some spoiler to take out of it towards the end of the race. What I'm looking at here, there's going to be a little bit less than 50 laps to go, so we're within the window of 1 pit stop to the end. So we will have to pit one more time. If there's a caution, with 42, 43 laps to go, there's a question: do you pit? Or do you stay out and wait until you're within your window?
We saw some fair amount of green flag running there. So I think you need to be prepared for a green flag stop in the event that you have one more here, or, getting to a point where you're just in your window. There will be no green-white checkers in this one. So if it will end at lap 80, so you don't have to worry about that. So the second you get in your window, and maybe some will try and go just a lap or 2 early, banking on a caution to save some fuel, then I believe you're coming down pit road.
Again, it goes back to what we said at the top of the show, boys. Options. You've got options as a racer. You like having options and strategies at your disposal as well. But what a huge shakeup now, and that puts the whole rivalry or whatever was brewing between Kolonix and Morse to bed for the time being. Imagine if there had been contact from the 22 into the back of Morse to cause him to go around, but that wasn't the case. Morse back to the 25th position, and looking at that car, he's fortunate. It could have been a whole lot worse for him when you go sliding across the asphalt there, coming down to the tri-oval, and you hit that inside wall. He was lucky. He got it at a good angle, if there's such a thing. You see the back end's beat up a little bit, a little damage to the front, but considering what he's been through, he was in the first wreck as well. That car's still running and probably going to be okay.
He's been through a war already. Only 30 laps into this thing. This has been crazy. So, but it had damage and he was perfectly fast there. From that first wreck he had damage and was perfectly fast and obviously going for the lead. So, it hasn't slowed him down at all. I'm anxious to see if he can still keep that speed. It'll be incredible to see that kind of damage still show the speed he had.
Let's bring in Kim Kuhn. Kim, what do you got?
Well, you just saw Nick Morris spin out, and he was actually running that higher spoil angle package. and he's got plenty of experience, so it had nothing to do with that. He's been sim racing for 20 years. He went with the more conservative setup in an effort to go the distance, get to the end of the race. But when you get in traffic with any setup, specifically that one, and someone's on your rear bumper, it's still going to disturb the air. You're going to get a little bit loose. That's exactly what we saw from Nick Morris. And on the longer runs, those cars tend to get free. You saw him get a little squirrely up there running towards the front. That's exactly what happened. A little bit of left front damage. He should be okay for the rest of the race. And another interesting tidbit, his teammate, Mitchell Hunt, on High Performance Motorsports, had the opposite. He had that low downforce, trimmed out car, spun early as well. So it's Daytona. Doesn't really matter what you bring to the track. It's a beast, and it can get you.
Well put, Kim. That's really great info. I wondered about those two teammates both having issues if they ran the same setup. Apparently not. One thing we should note, Dave, is the restart just happened. You've got lappers on the inside. You've got Garrett Smithley, who is also a lapper there starting up front. This is chaos.
Oh my gosh, they're 3 wide scramble into turn 1 as the big green flag came back out. Great report there by Kim on the difference between the two High Performance Motorsports cars and one that she mentioned there. Mitchell Hunt second in line, not on the lead lap, but here comes Blake Reynolds to his inside. Hunt trying to earn that lap back the old-fashioned way, but here comes Blake Reynolds. Huge run down the back straightaway into 3 and will take that top spot back.
Remember, that's in the 1980s. The lap cars hold their position. So the tail end of the lead lap cars that did not pit, when the leaders do pit, they don't get a wave around. They just restart behind the pace cars. So that's why you saw that's why you saw the leaders restart behind lap cars.
One of which was Garrett Smithley, our buddy there in the Radius car. So is Mitchell Hunt. So that's when, Blake Reynolds had to be smart. He had to work his way through there and try and gouge his way through the traffic, but you know what? He did a great job. We're off into a single file run at the front of this thing.
I got to give a shout out to my buddy Colton Salick. We'll see him on Wednesday. He put a picture up on Twitter of me trying to find Kim Kuhn on her first report there because I was looking in the wrong direction. So thank you, Colton. I appreciate it. That's my buddy.
Friends for. When you got when you got friends like that, right?
I'm telling you, we didn't get the suit review tonight, but we got Colton with a classic screen capture of me looking stupid. What else is new? I appreciate it. As Reynolds leads the field here, you get a good look back from the back bumper. I like that camera right there.
He's looking up at Kim, and again, shout out to Kim Kuhn for joining our broadcast tonight. Thank you, Kim. She's doing a wonderful job. We're really excited to have her on the broadcast Wednesday as well.
Yeah, what a treat. What a treat that was. That was a surprise to me. I didn't know she was coming on. I think that's awesome.
Well, basically the producers got on us a little bit and said, "Hey, look, we got to bring a professional in here." So
that's right.
Thankfully, Kim agreed to join us, be the one professional on this broadcast team, and she's obviously already added a ton of professionalism to this group of misfits we've got right here. Us three.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair. I got nothing else to say to that, Landon.
No, he's absolutely right. Well put. Thank you.
I got you guys.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Sure
that's why I love this.
Hashtag Firecracker200 on Twitter, Facebook, all of your social media platforms. And if something stands out to Kim, she'll load it up and put it on screen.
Oh my goodness gracious, that is fantastic. That these things live in infamy forever. That's the internet. So I like that one. Well, that one has a special place. Thank you again, Colton. As we look at the battle here, good battle side by side as well for that third position. Let's give a call to Steph Marinac. What a run in that Florida Gators 15 machine up front pretty much throughout the entirety of this event so far. Very strong as there comes a bump. Oh, that was almost the broadcaster's curse as Kolonix gets into the back with a rough bump and almost took out Rasmus at the same time.
Kolonix is aggressive. There's no other way
Very
to put
aggressive.
it. Yeah, he doesn't back down.
Right on the back of Steph Marinac right there. That Blue Emu onboard cam is catching everything. That's awesome.
Wow. And he's just trying to, help with the little bump like you see in today's racing. But with these cars, it takes a different style of bumping. If you're going to try and transfer that energy from you into the car in front of you, it's a different way, a little more refined than the crude manner in which they do it today. And it takes some practice. And again, these guys haven't had a lot of pack practice. And so if you're not used to it and you try and do it and you get it wrong, we almost saw there the consequences that can play out from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new car on iRacing, David, so it's been around for just a month. There's been a lot of racing going on. I think these guys know what they're doing, but to bump properly, you just got to go dead straight. You know, it's got to be lined up nice and straight down the straightaway, and you can give a pretty hard push down the straightaway, but you got to give them some room on corner entry, because not only can bumping them on corner entry spin them out, just being within a couple feet of the rear spoiler will make the guy in front of you loose enough that they'll lose control of their car.
Well, we talk about the bumping and the pushing and the perfection it requires. How about the sounds of these engines? Let's just soak it in for a moment and listen to these cars work their way around Daytona. Steph Marinac just went around. No caution here as a couple of cars scattered, but Steph Marinac was the first one, and we talked about the great run there. As more cars go around on the front straightaway, that's Colton Harvey into the outside fence. Garrett Smithley sliding through the grass. All hell breaking loose here on the front straightaway at Daytona, and still we stay under the green flag, but that's a big turn of events as a car from inside the top five gets sent up into the fence. That is really, really tough stuff there. There's the caution. What happened here? 3 wide on the apron into 3. And that's, oh no. Was that Marshall Gable again on the bottom?
There was multiple things happening there. It's like they all got off the corner and decided things were going pear-shaped, different places.
Oh, brother. Lot to unpack there, but an aggressive move. We've seen some aggressive 3 wide moves, but this is an aggressive 3 wide move by the 270 machine, Marshall Gable, on the bottom. I mean, he's above the yellow line, then he's straddling the yellow line, and he just can't keep the car on the bottom and doors. Poor Steph Marinac into the outside wall. As you saw the other incident there on the front straightaway with Garrett Smithley and Colton Harvey as well. So multiple incidents there as we try to get the Marinac Gable incident up, but that's tough. If you're Steph Marinac, that's a tough one to swallow right there.
It is.
Especially running up in top 5 the whole race. Yikes. But that's Daytona for you.
Well, we've seen it, right? Basically, we saw the first couple laps, Mitchell Hunt spins out, running there in the top 3. We've had Steph Marinac spin out, basically running the top 3. I mean, these cars are not easy, whether you're in the front, whether you're in the back, in the middle of the pack. It's not easy. These are really hard cars to drive, and they, they're going to be tough, and it's going to get even worse as you get later in the run, later in the race. Oh, man, that was tough. But you see the yellow line move there. That's legal, so things are going to get frisky as we get late in this race, and you're going to have those opportunities to try and use all this racetrack. And at the same token, the cars are going to continue not to handle well and probably handle worse because drivers are going to trim them out. They're going to try all sorts of things, so this is only going to get harder.
Yeah, Parker, I think one thing to note, too, with this pit stop, drivers should be nearly good to make it to the end. I think on paper, it's going to be close with a couple caution laps here early, maybe hoping for another caution later. They should be good on fuel.
How
really
about
just
this?
A
We had
matter
a couple
of actually
cars stay out.
to run 40 laps on these tires.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. I was like, wait a second. Do you want to go 40 laps on these tires? What happens whenever you and I've tried to go more than 20 laps on these tires and these cars? It's you're hanging on for dear life, or you go over 40 and you're suddenly in the danger zone of blowing one of these things. So you've got to really treat those tires nicely if you want to have the chance of going that far.
We had two cars stay out here. Nick Morse stayed out. Now effectively will be the leader. Remember, he was the last yellow flag as he spun off of turn 4 by himself. And Keith Jeffrey is going to be the first car a lap down, it looks like. We're back on the lead lap at this point. I'm not sure. We need timing and scoring to catch up here, but he stayed out as well. We'll see if he continues to or if he's going to bring it down pit road. But really, the interesting part here, Parker, is Nick Morse electing to stay out.
It's a bold strategy.
But that's very bold. I mean, he's got laps on his tires, and he also doesn't have enough fuel to the end.
Did you think I was going to end it with bold strategy, Cotton? But no, I think this.
Oh, did I? I took your thought, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, no. What I was going to say is, I think this sort of strategy is something where you do this because you were at the front before, you fell way back. Why not take a chance at getting some track position, seeing if it falls in your favor?
Let's head down to pit road with Kim Kuhn.
Landon, you were talking about the fuel mileage and the fuel window. They're actually just outside of it. So fuel window here, 33 to 35. Right now, they still have to go 38. So unless we get a bunch of caution laps, likely they will have to come again unless they're really good at managing the fuel and are able to stretch it. And then wanted to give a little bit of a hard time to Steph Marinick. I hate to see the spin out, but running the Gators paint scheme, I'm a Miami fan, so it doesn't bother me when I see a Gator spin out.
Kim Kuhn starting to put some opinion into the report.
Wow.
That's very fair. I can't say, Kim, I'm going to tell you, I might agree with you on that one. But bless Steph for his good effort and his good run. Hopefully he can get some damage repaired and at least get it back up there for his own sake.
That's good content right there.
Miami football game, I can tell you I'm a Miami fan as well. So I'm with her. That's my addition to that, guys.
That is good content. That is why the people come out to watch right there.
What are they called? The Hurricanes? Weren't they? Or the Canes or something like that? That's right.
Who? Which one? Miami?
The Miami one. Yeah.
Yeah, they're Hurricanes. They got that turnover chain too. They got that blend.
That's right. Yes. I'm a fan of that team.
There you go. Big green egg, green flag back in the air. Nick Morse stayed out under the most recent yellow. The only one who did it now leads the field back to green. Mitchell Hunt, his high-performance motorsports teammate, to his inside. Blake Reynolds in the outside lane. Everyone forming up there as they get up through the gears. I almost feel guilty for what I'm about to say, but so far the restarts have been fantastic.
Well, that's the curse right there.
I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have said it. But we struggled with that. Oh my goodness! Blake Reynolds thought about it. He thought about it.
And it's a squeeze. More squeezing Reynolds for the lead.
We know Blake Reynolds won't lift, right, Parker?
It was Morris's teammate, Mitchell Hunt, below him there in the 71, who's trying, I believe, to just get a lap back right now. So I think Nicholas Morris is trying to maybe help him out a little bit, trying to hold up Blake Reynolds in this front pass.
Oh, sure.
And see if Mitchell Hunt can get in front of him. Well, as he drives right in front of him. So maybe not. Maybe trying to use him for the draft. Oh, third car behind him just tapped the wall.
Everything is square behind him as Reynolds. Now he's on his own on the outside with no help. But Reynolds has been strong enough. He might be able to clear for the lead. Now he's got the
Morse
push
checked
from
up,
Hunt, and that was enough to get him to clear.
Morse checked up. I saw the flame spitting out of the tailpipe as Morse checked up, I think, or he was just bottoming out. I can't tell which, but those two cars on the inside did not go. So Reynolds will take over the top spot. Morse might have the parachute out here and start dropping through the field. But for Mitchell Hunt, really fighting to get that lap back. He is the first car one lap down, and he's got a good pusher. We've seen how aggressive Kolonix has been in the pushing department. We'll see what he can do here with Hunt. If he elects to go with him, no, he'll go to the outside by himself.
We haven't seen lap cars race for their spot like this in a long time, because in NASCAR, we've got the lucky dog, we've got wave rounds, and we have double file restarts. So it's kind of cool to see a lap car in the mix, even though there is the risk. I mean, that's what Blake Reynolds has to consider now, is the risk of a lap car that caused a wreck earlier today, now racing for his lap back while you're racing for the lead.
Guys, just behind that, in that 50 car, Christian Sanford running the House Ventrac car. Got to give a shout out to him. He's up 27 spots in this race from where he started, running there in third now. Great run for Christian Sanford. And look at that beautiful Ventrac scheme. Thank you to Ventrac. We haven't been able to use our Ventrac blowover counter, so, you know, we might as well get them some love when Christian Sanford gets up in the top 3 right behind Colnix.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sharp-looking car there. Haven't needed to use the title sponsor's unique position in the race yet, thankfully. But good hard racing here as Colnix is cleared for that second spot on track. Sanford trying to follow suit to work around the lap machine of Mitchell Hunt. Down there on the bottom side in that white number 71 is Hunt. Sanford will clear. Can't quite get it to the bottom, though. That was awkward getting into one, and chose not to make a risky move there. Lets the car go back up the hill, and we'll try one more time down the back straightaway.
Oh, went sideways off of turn 2, it looks like. And he saved it. Everything's clear still.
Is that Rabba-Dabba-Doo?
I think it was.
Yeah, he got that apron, and it kicked him out sideways. Nice save by Rabideau right there. Held on to it, but lost a little bit of time, but he's still got a race car to drive, so I guess he's lucky.
These cars are all over the racetrack, Parker. I mean, I wish I was in this race, but part of me is glad that I'm not.
It does look fun.
It looks like fun, but they're a handful.
And that's what part of the reason there is we just put up that weather conditions, 93 degrees air temp, 114 degrees track temp. Not quite as hot as what we saw in the qualifying nights, which got up to 140 degrees. So you knew that was slick, but definitely not a cool track temp by any means. This track is certainly slick, and these drivers are showing it having to slide around all over the place.
Well, and it is going up, Parker. It was, just hovering over 100 degrees when we went green here at 10 o'clock in the morning in Daytona. It is 10:49 at the moment, so it's just going to get hotter and hotter from here as we close in on 30 laps to go.
We should note that is the in-sim time, and the reason we chose that time, Landon, is because that's when they would have started this race back in the day. So we went with that same timing. We can do that in the sim world where it might be, 9 o'clock on the East Coast here in America, but we were able to put the sim at 10 a.m. and run this race as if it was running at that time.
And hey, we get a race over at 10 o'clock, takes 2 hours. By noon, you can head to the beach, fill up your cooler,
Boom.
Put some dogs in the grill.
Go celebrate July 4th weekend.
Yeah, watch
Parker, what are you filling your cooler up with?
Well, of course, it's going to be some variation of spiked seltzer, so that would be a White Claw or a Truly. Anything in that range is really my drink of choice over the last, I would say, year or so. That's been my go-to. So it was tequila for a long time, but Landon told me I was crazy, and so I had to, get off the tequila a little bit and head to something a little softer.
Parker,
I want to look at a battle here.
Gosh,
I can't even imagine that. I want to look at a battle here, mid-pack, 12th, 13th, 14th. That's Nathan Rabideau, Justin Botello, Trevor Perry. I haven't talked about Jabo and Perry yet, but they've been working together. I've been keeping an eye on them, working up through the field, Outrun Esports teammates. Perry as well representing Burton Kligerman Esports as he sort of gives the boot to Jabo there through the trial.
Together, David.
Okay, never mind. As you were, I would say, and Rabideau will take that spot back. So not working together as we look at him. And here comes Gilles Chatelain as well. We've talked about Gilles Chatelain, that Perrier car. The great feel-good story that Chatelain had getting in through the prelims as that final transfer position. Strong run right now in that 14th spot. But some of these drivers that we talked about who came from deep in the field, Perry in particular, remember, he started way back in the 40th position, second to last, and has now scored in the 11th position when they come back across the line. So that trans-service house car coming to life here as he tries to track down these leaders.
They moved forward, and Gilles Chatelain racing from Switzerland, right? Is that what we remember? Right. He's put, so it's quite late over there. So he's very dedicated, been dedicated this whole event. He also had that really cool situation where when he made it through the prelims on that Friday night, he was heading directly to go do his stint in the 24 hours of Le Mans that was happening on iRacing at that time. which Landon and I were jealous because we didn't get to race that race.
I would tell you, Parker, we had plans to run in the race. And after all the work that it took to get through those prelims, do the broadcast, I'm glad that we didn't.
I was spent. Yeah.
I was so
wore out.
I expect we won't see either of you for at least a week after this is all done.
Hey, I just saw Mubot in the chat put the alert for buyinfra.com. We have a discount code eRacer for 10% off your purchases at buyinfra. They are IT hardware, gaming components, computer hardware, computer components. But we also have a giveaway that we're doing, Parker. And I actually haven't even checked it out. Is it on the eracer.gg site? Is that where the giveaway is?
It is. Right now we have a specific link. We just got it together before we went live here for this broadcast, so we'll try to get that to everyone here. But we have a giveaway that we're promoting some great stuff that INFRA will be giving away, including a monitor, a gaming keyboard, and a gaming headset. So all sorts of really cool prizes for all the gamers out there, and of course sim racers that want to enter and try to win that. And we'll try and get that link to them out right now.
Oh my goodness, I'm looking at these two again, Trevor Perry and Justin Patello down the back straightaway swiping at each other as we're looking at the lead as well. So I've sort of got my eyes on two different things. It's getting
David.
Yeah, it's getting hot and heavy up at the front. I'm trying to keep an eye on things if it breaks out, but don't forget about Nick Morris. We talked about how he stayed out under the most recent yellow and fell back a little bit. He's fought his way back to the 5th spot and is coming back to the front here.
Yeah, it's Morse is fighting on old tires, but we got Sanford in second, and I think Kim has a report on Sanford. Just working
on finishing that up. We'll give her a sec to get up here and give us that report, but that's a good call on Sanford. We saw him take the 3rd position away now in the 2nd spot. And again, Kolonix not really interested in pushing him, is going to make a play for 2nd himself into 3 here. You get a sense of who's your friend and who isn't right now. Is we're under 30 laps. Yeah, friends are where you find them, Landon. Right? I mean, when you're out at this type of track and at these speeds and with this package, friends are whoever you'll find wherever you'll find them. But some guys have clearly not wanted to work together. I don't think Alex Kolonix has wanted to work with anybody except himself.
Well, it may not just be Alex. I was just listening to the scanner, and Alex was overheating, trying to dip out, get some clean air behind Blake Reynolds, asking him to kind of give him some space, but Blake was blocking anyways. Told him, I wasn't trying to pass you. Don't block me. I'm just trying to get some air. Blake blocked him anyways. So Blake's pretty aggressive and wasn't giving much to him. Kim, what do you got?
Yeah, a little chatter between the 1 and 2 drivers, Blake Reynolds and Alex Kolonix, having some banter on the radio. Alex overheating. So he was trying to dip out from behind Blake, and he told him over the radio he wasn't originally trying to pass him, but Alex still making the moves on him. Blake has not been listening and has been trying to block anyway. Blake, obviously a very aggressive driver. And we're seeing right now, though, Alex pulling away. So originally, again, had said, not trying to pass you, just trying to get my car cooled off. But maybe he wasn't telling the truth over the radio.
It might be. That's what I was thinking. Out.
Kolonix, we got there's spinning out all over the place.
They were wrecking in 3 and 4. Race Control just put out the yellow in the middle of your report.
And Kolonix almost lost a race car right there for 3rd. Saved it through the grass on the front straightaway. Holy hell.
Together for this guy. Literally.
If he doesn't have a pro ride after this race, I don't know who's going to get one.
No one. No one deserves one if he doesn't get one, because this is incredible.
And this was an incident between... The first incident was Jill Chatelaine. Oh no, Jill Chatelaine got loose by himself going into 3. Nathan Rabideau nowhere to go, along with Manon Rahman, and Rahman gets a little piece of that. Right hooks Rabideau. Dylan Thomas into it as well, but Rabideau with the huge hit. And Jill Chatelaine up and over as well. Oh my goodness. Tumbling off the banking in 3 and 4. So Jill Chatelaine all the way from Switzerland, made it in as the final transfer spot in the prelims. Goes for a wild ride in 3 and 4, and his Firecracker 200 does not come to the end that he was hoping for. Just that quickly, guys, it can go wrong.
So, I mean, if you're Blake Reynolds, are you staying out? You're good to go on fuel. Looks like these guys want tires, though.
How did Nick Morse become the leader?
I don't know.
So it all went down there right as basically Kim came up for the report. She was telling us about all that had gone on, and then there was a pass, and then the wreck started happening. So there was a lot that happened in that basically 30-second span. But that's how Nicholas Morse ended up in the lead.
That was a lot of activity right there. And remember, Morse stayed out on the last yellow and gets I mean, that's a huge break for him to get this caution flag right now as the leader. Huge break for him.
This is what, so here he is. He went 3 wide. Yeah, down the bottom. He gets to the lead essentially as they go off into 3 in the center of 3 and 4. And then the caution's going to come out as they get to the front straightaway. So he was able to hold on to that. It was a huge power move. The same move just earlier in the race. He ended up touching the apron off 4, spinning out, but then gets it together for this one, gets it done, and finds himself the lead. And yes, that strategy just worked out and insanely well because he just gained about 20 spots in terms of track position to get to the lead from that strategy of staying out earlier.
You want to talk about a story of highs and lows. Nick Morse, the same driver who 15 minutes ago was quoted by HPM on Twitter as being angry as poop. It wasn't quite that word, but you can put the two together. He was very, very cross about the way things were going, and so perhaps the anger that was fueling him there is now propelled him to this lead. And again, the yellow being just a huge break for him to hold on to that lead and now be on equal tires and fuel as everybody else.
Yeah, that turned out to be a really good strategy for Nicholas Morse. And the only thing is maybe he might have, will be interesting to see. I don't know if these guys took 2 or 4.
I mean, you can't draw it up any better than that. You could take a swing at that strategy 10 times and miss it 10 times.
That's right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's that's a hugely risky one. Just yesterday, we saw a lot of strategy in terms of the real life racing at Pocono, in the Truck Series, in the Xfinity Series, and even the Cup Series. Strategy like what Nicholas Morse pulled there, which is sometimes you gotta flip the basically the strategy on its head and try something completely different, because that's the only way you're going to get that much track position and take that risk. It's risk versus reward. He was running basically outside the top 15 after getting involved and spun out basically. And so he had to take that risk for the reward of getting in the front. He did it. It paid off. But, the other side of that, as you said, is it doesn't go right. It doesn't pan out. And then you sit there going, oh, man, maybe I should have just ran around and hoped for that caution, picked my way forward. But he went for the big chunk all at once, and it worked out.
So we've got Blake Reynolds is all the way back to 8th.
Oh, boy. The Coke pit crew might have been sleeping a little bit on that one. That's going to hurt him, but he's going to have some good pushers behind him. Batello's in 9th, Trevor Perry in 10th. So he's got some good help from behind if they can work together and push their way. I mean, we've seen it's not hard to work your way back to the front if you fall through the field, but yeah, certainly a little bit of a hole for Blake Reynolds to dig out of. And anytime you turn up that intensity and that aggression, risk of a caution coming out seems to go up with it. Pace car's off. Big green egg, green flag back in the air. And again, it's the 2 HPM cars leading the field to the green. Nick Morse as the leader in the outside lane in that black and green number 12. Mitchell Hunt in the 71 on the bottom in that white machine. Now Morse will drop down to the bottom to try and pick up his teammates.
If you're Morse, do you want to help Mitchell Hunt get back on the lead lap? I mean, this is a car that started on the pole. I mean, I don't know how bad I want him to be up here racing, teammate or no teammate.
And was the first yellow.
Yeah, I mean,
he was the first crash of the race on lap 2.
Here's the other thing, though. If it's really mentally, it's really hard to race a guy that is a lap behind you. So it's hard to make the same moves against him. as you would against someone for position. So sometimes you might just let them go, and focus on guys that are for position.
This get up to speed lap, this restart was absolutely insane. They were 3 wide down the back straightaway. I've been watching Blake Reynolds with one eye work his way through the field and bring just Justin Botello with him. Up front, Mitchell Hunt blocking that bottom lane, Morse running the top, sort of controlling both lanes as the HPM cars. Caden Rush in that 40 machine, now giving the business to the back bumper of Nick Morse to move him along. So Caden Rush making a play for this lead, and he's got help from Christian Sanford.
This is incredible racing. We also had a 5th member of our broadcast team join us in terms of Landon's dog there for a second, so that was pretty awesome. But Nicholas Morse holding off both lanes here, sort of what we see in modern day super speedway racing. He's moving from the top to the bottom, to the top to the bottom, helping each lane, then going and blocking the next lane. This is something I don't expect to last, though. As these tires start to fall off, there's no way he can continue to do that lap after lap. It's such a risky thing.
Well, and we saw, we saw drivers burning their tires completely off in practice races and prelims. Kim's got a good tweet from social media for us.
Yeah, this one from Justin Malillo. We know him. He knows everything about e-racing, but he said, keeping my eye on J-Bo. His car's clean and he's driving safe. As I was typing this, of course, David mentions him too, so expect a commentator's curse. Shaking my head, hashtag Firecracker 200. So giving you a little bit of flack, David. He thinks that you put the curse on J-Bo.
That's fair, Kim. That's fair. And to be quite honest, he did, or I did, I should say, because as soon as he was tweeting that, and as soon as I was talking about it, is when Trevor Perry gave J-Bo the boot through the tri-oval. So it's almost as if they're listening to us. I swear these race car drivers are crafty. But look at this action. Well, look at this action. Sanford hit the wall.
Yeah, he got a little, right when Kim dropped into the broadcast, he got excited, hit the wall right there, fell from the top 5 all the way back to where's he at right now. I think he's fallen basically outside, maybe all the way to the back of the top 10. So that, or even outside it. So that was unfortunate for him. He's gonna have to work his way back, and so hopefully he doesn't have too much damage.
I think commentator's curse, that might be Kim with the commentator's curse.
It might be.
We'll wait for a Justin tweet to verify that.
Oh, and Blake Reynolds
Look
right
at the
on the
pack.
bumper of Rush.
Look at this pack of leaders. I mean, I know we're talking through this, but look at Blake Reynolds to the inside. 3 wide on the bottom. Blake Reynolds didn't take him long to get back up there as he takes both of them, swoops around the inside. There's still 3 wide. Here comes Mike Rasmus. Where did he come from?
Clearly, Reynolds believes the safest place for him to be is in the lead.
I don't blame him.
To give you that impression.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, he's
that car is fast. That thing is flying.
They're never straight. They're always sideways. I don't care if it's through the tri-oval. Even down the back straightaway, they're all bobbing and weaving around. This is incredible racing. Oh, as the caution comes out.
We have a caution, and it's going to be for a big pile up in 1 and 2, featuring the 77 of Devin Henry. That's unfortunate. The 16 of Aaron McEachern's involved. Brian C. Mullen is involved in the 41. This started way ahead of Mullen. There were a couple of incidents here. Aaron McEachern went around. First car to go around was Garrett Smithley. It starts with Garrett Smithley going into turn 1. Up on the high side, grazes the outside wall and spins. Gets collected by a number of cars. Oh no, Gare Bear.
Gare Bear got caught up early, had a little damage. Oh, and he just got too close to the wall, and that radius right is junk.
Oh man.
Hate to hear Aaron McEachern involved in that. That's the Pontiac kid.
Yeah, he's not happy. He got
Devin Henry.
He got hit late.
Devin Henry, who had the best social media, would win the award for pre-race promotion with his car being pushed out by myself, or I was the cameraman, Landon, you were pushing the back of the car.
Pushing the back, yep.
That was impressive.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's a bummer, but gosh, that wreck just took forever, and I can, we can hear the drivers on the scanner here. Well, just a lot of conversation about what happened and how that small wreck became bigger.
David, maybe we should bring up the tweet from earlier in the broadcast showing what Garrett was actually racing on. setup wise.
We got to cut him some slack. I mean,
Yeah,
we do. We got to cut him some slack.
That was an odd one to see. Garrett's a heck of a sim racer, heck of a real race driver. And I feel like he's, that's an unusual mistake for the. Ooh, we got some serious.
A lot of fake outs.
Indecision. One over the grass.
A lot of it. And there's about 7 or 8 cars that did choose not to pit.
So it looks like
first car coming down pit road is Arvanitis.
Yeah, he was in third. But I wish that image of what Garrett was racing on, he was basically on a couch with a couple books holding up a monitor and a old Logitech wheel. So we said you could race with anything, but that might have been the downfall of racing or something like that, where don't quite have the perception side to side and that sort of thing that he needs to be able to, avoid getting the wall.
Rudimentary would be a fair way to describe what Garrett's setup looked like. I'll give you a quick, speaking of tweets, give you a quick update to the Nick Morse tweet story. He went from being angry as poop to now getting a hell yeah over the radio. So it seems like his mood has improved. Funny how that happens when you're out front.
Yeah, I can't think of a time I was ever angry to be in the front of a race. Yep, that's true. It's a really good point. Yeah.
As poop.
Never
and
happened.
that is Aaron McCackron, our Pontiac kid, has 8 minutes of repairs.
Oh.
So that'll be it for him.
That's an F in chat for the Pontiac kid.
Yep, F in the Twitch chat for our very own Pontiac kid. That'll be it for him. There it is.
There
Look at
it
that. Garrett.
That is the setup he was racing with. So if you're wondering, you're seeing that wreck, you're like, what the heck? I mean, let's give the guy some slack. I don't know. That's like the definition. That's almost racing on a cell phone. So.
Yep. That's tough. I think that couch is so wide. That's why he clipped the wall. It just
he couldn't tell. His depth perception was all off.
Let's think of the physics of him racing on that couch with his lean. I mean, how does that?
Oh yeah.
You gotta. Yep.
Are we leaning the right way? Yeah, we are.
No, you gotta go that way. Yeah. Go left. Go left.
Yep.
Yep. You like this? You like this? So he would have been, I mean, the couch might have worked because he could have just driven, basically laying down completely sideways, and that might have been effective as well. So for the lean stream, as he called it, streams.
Let's get some lean stream emotes in the chat right now in Twitch.
Absolutely. As a new proud owner of a Lean Stream T-shirt, I'm all about it. It's a great T-shirt. Highly recommend it. As we're shilling his merch on broadcast.
Is there a driver's T-shirt you don't own?
Yeah. Well, I don't have a Landon Cassill shirt. I don't have a Parker Kligerman shirt.
I meant of that you could actually buy, because those you can't buy right now.
Yeah. No, I got my new Matt Kenseth shirt. I wore that yesterday on stream. That's the only one that I really need. So I got my Ryan Vargas. I got my Anthony Alfredo. I got my Ryan Truex.
I was gonna say, of course, Ryan Truex. Yep.
We got more chirping.
A closet. So
we've got more drivers chirping at each other on the radio. And guess who it is?
Super chatty, and Alex Kolinix is.
And Nick Morris, imagine that. They are going at it.
Dispute.
Oh boy. I mean, it's lap 69, nice, and we're getting ready for the restart, but
nice.
Boy, oh boy, they've been at it this entire one to go lap. They've been at each other. I've just been hearing it, and the big green flag back in the air, but that feud is far from done.
They've been at it all race.
Stack up there. I don't know what caused that, but the 3 of Reynolds has a big lead.
The wrecking
out the back.
Andy Hunter, Blake McCandless involved.
Caution is back out.
That was well, you know what? I'm just gonna call it what I see it, and we can disagree or agree on it. That's Marshall Gable going 3 wide in the middle on the restart, where probably wasn't a very good idea to try that, and he turns Andy Hunter.
Get antsy. Look at that ticker on the left. 11 laps to go. That's it's go time.
Of 10 to go.
Yeah. So it's go time. This is when you're gonna push everything you got, and that's just 2 cars fighting for the same real estate. It's always going to end poorly.
That's unfortunate for McCandless. Obviously, an innocent bystander in that one, and Andy Hunter as well. Andy was inside the top 10 at that point. And, yeah.
So, well, David, we've had a pretty... We got a replay here. Pretty clean race. Oh, wow, yeah, that's just... No,
Yeah,
no.
I don't. That was kind of a bold move there for the
Picture says it all.
Quickie
Yeah.
throwback.
Blake McCandless, I mean, how unfortunate for him. He's running in the top 5 right there at the beginning of the race. Gets taken out by Mitchell Hunt spinning. Starts working his way back through the field, making headway, and then just gets taken out again from a 3-wide move. So it's just not been his night. But, hey, guys, we got to bring it up. This is crunch time. I mean, here we go. This is for all the marbles. What?
No more pit stops.
No pitting, track positions, everything. This is going to be about nailing the restart, making the blocks, making moves, and remember, the yellow line doesn't really exist. It's only there as a suggestion. You can go below it. You can go around it. You can go, up top of it. I don't care what you do on the yellow line. It doesn't matter. You're allowed to use every bit of asphalt and some on this racetrack to make a pass. So this could get wild.
And I do want to note in the race chat, Nicholas Morse just commented, "This is why I stayed out." So
he expected this.
He took foresight. He wanted the track position. He didn't want to get deeper than 10th spot where all the wrecks tend to happen.
Very smart.
Really smart.
We've talked about why Blake Reynolds wants to be out front. I mean, we've seen the leader get wrecked. We've seen the leader wreck on lap 2. But, being out front, you really avoid a lot of that stuff. But let's bring in Kim Kuhn with another report from pit road.
Yeah, devastating blow for Andy Hunter in the 11 car. Ripping the NASCAR Hall of Fame, though. Got spun by Marshall Gable, as you saw. The last restart, he was 20th and moved up into the 8th position. So he was one of those guys that typically, like we see at Daytona, lays back and in the closing laps tries to move his way forward. Had broken into the top 10. And again, unfortunate ending to what could have been victory lane for him. But a reminder to the fans watching, if your driver is running towards the back half, don't give up hope yet. This is Daytona and certainly could make some moves like we saw Andy just do before he got spun. And you can, of course, tweet us who you think is going to take home the hardware using the hashtag Firecracker200. Yeah, that actually is a replica trophy from the 1987 Firecracker 400 trophy, and I'm wondering which of the 3 of you guys was even born before 1987. I don't think any of you.
I was.
No, I wasn't born. That's a good-looking piece built by Kyle Putz, our good friend, who's actually in the race on Wednesday. So that'll be the trophy that goes home with the winner on Wednesday. Great report, Kim. Thank you for that. That's good to know.
And he can save us a lot on shipping by just winning. So, Kyle, if you just want to win it,
keep the trophy.
Keep the trophy. It's yours. You made it. You get to keep it. But if he doesn't, for all those out there, you can literally go on Google, check out the 1987 Firecracker 400 Victory Lane photos, and you will see a very similar trophy. So really cool that he was able to put together. And, I mean, what an amazing work of art that he put together there.
Yeah, that was great. And thank you again, Kim, for the great report on Andy Hunter driving the NASCAR Hall of Fame car. We announced earlier today, Parker, we have a partnership with the Hall of Fame. For our broadcast on Wednesday, you are going to see some really cool elements, a lot of neat stuff on our broadcast, all with the help of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. We're going to tell the story. We're going to tie things together. We're going to bring back some memories of the old-time Firecracker 400. So it gives me shivers just to talk about it. I'm so excited.
I can't wait to see it.
Watch the pre-race. There's going to be some awesome stuff in the pre-race even. So Wednesday night, join us, please.
Absolutely. As we get set for what could be the final restart. Remember, no green-white checkers, so we get into that danger zone. We will not get a restart as the big green flag goes back in the air as we ride on board. Looking back from Blake Reynolds, gets himself a good jump. 3 wide onto the apron goes Nick Morse. Look at this move with Caden Rush as well. Botello pushing Rush, and here comes Kolonix pushing his nemesis in Nick Morse.
He will be denied. Nicholas Morris, it's like whack-a-mole. They keep trying to put him down, and he just finds a way back to the front. He's spun out of the lead early in this race, and now is with inside 10 laps to go, fighting for the lead, getting to the back bumper of Blake Reynolds.
And
Had
Parker,
nowhere
I
to
mean, I
go.
just feel like this is
Sideways.
Reynolds on the apron. Saves
Blake
it.
Reynolds. Oh, no.
All of them, all the leaders have wrecked. All the leaders.
Oh, my gosh.
Peter Bennett is the leader. Peter Bennett is leading this race.
What just happened?
Oh, upside down.
All the leaders
my
just wrecked. Peter Bennett is leading this race at lap 75.
From the United Kingdom over in England right now, Peter Bennett is leading this.
That's your driver,
Firecracker
Parker.
200. Yes, Burton Kligerman Esports. He has that awesome paint scheme you see there. That's his colors from his Twitch streaming. Oh my gosh, I bet he is absolutely ecstatic right now.
Have you ever?
Oh, man.
No, never.
Never. No, I've never. I mean, Caden Rush was just lost it, leading, running the top. As
And they all
came
wrecked.
blasting in there, they all wrecked.
I can't believe it.
15. Steph Marinak was in it. Trevor Perry comes out in third right now. I don't know if he has any damage. I mean, Reynolds had it saved and then lost it again. Unbelievable.
I've never seen anything like that.
Can we get an onboard of Peter Bennett? I mean, I know you guys are looking for everything.
We got to see what he sees.
That's got to be one of the, from his perspective, the ultimate Moses.
Who is this?
Oh, Andy Hunter
Andy.
here. What a
Hunter.
move!
Little more damage for Andy. And he,
Kim was just talking about how he likes to lay back and make a move at the end, and well, it kind of came to him there.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
Wow.
You want drama?
I mean-
There you go.
We got it.
Incredible.
So this is going to come down to a 3-lap dash, a green-white checkered, I think.
And the next caution ends it.
The next caution will end it.
So if there's a major wreck at the front, I think the race officials will try to let this play out to green. But wow, this is Peter Bennett is in position to win this. We should note it pays $500 to win this Firecracker 200. That is not chump change for your 2-week times of being invested in this event. So that is the purse of this race itself is $2,500. So drivers are really having a lot to fight for here. And here's Craig Arvanitez on board.
We're gonna get a restart. It's gonna be a couple of laps
look
at
at
best.
As
As Arvanitez barely got through there. So he gets into second, Trevor Perry third. And it makes me think of a tweet that Peter Bennett put up, I think right before we went to racing tonight, of him in the bath.
Wow.
His traditional bath. And it's a selfie of him covered in bubbles. And now he finds himself at the lead of the Firecracker 200 after getting through a field clearing crash.
Amazing. He goes by the Twitch streamer name Outrage87. And there it is. Outrage87 in the bath. That came from the prelims, right? He took a pre-prelim bath, was able to make it through the prelims, put a lot of effort in those. Then qualifying, we saw him on the first night. On his outlap into turn 3, he loses the car, wrecks big, destroys the car. Didn't quite have the speed to make it into the Firecracker 400 in the second round of qualifying. Finds himself in the Firecracker 200, and here late in this race, possibly the final restart, in the lead. That is the kind of stories we wanted to see in the Firecracker event, Landon. These sorts of underdog stories you were not expecting to pop up, and that's what's happened here.
Yeah, and we've got some great underdog stories in the Firecracker. I mean, could it be Dylan Gooden? Any one of these other drivers that are going to go up against the pros. I mean, we've got how many? 16, 17 eNASCAR drivers in the field, it is going to be a tall order. And obviously Dale Earnhardt Jr. starting shotgun on the field. I think that he has the tallest order out of all of them. I mean, I don't think you're safe anywhere on this racetrack.
And David, think about this. I saw Peter talk about this earlier on Twitter today. He's a B license in oval, 2,000 iRating. 2,000. And he said, you know what? It's cool for all 2,000 iRatings out there. And a lot of people stood up and said, yeah, I'm with you. Go win it for the 2,000 iRatings. Well, he might just win it, which is awesome.
Here we go. This is our final restart. Let's see it.
This is it, the last big green egg, green flag of the Firecracker 200. Can Peter Bennett put it all together for one restart? He's getting ganged up now as Arvanitas goes to the outside. But who's Trevor Perry going to work with? I got to imagine it's going to be his Burton Kligerman Esports teammate, right? We'll see as they get down into one.
You're going to want that inside, but Perry cannot make a decision. He goes to the inside with Bennett.
He does. So he pushes Peter Bennett. Oh, he's going to go low off of 2.
He wants the lead.
Here he comes.
He's got to
Trevor Perry. He's got the speed. He's got the clean car. Arvanitas gives a bump to Bennett in 3. Put Trevor Perry out in front of this race. Arvanitas now through into the second spot as Bennett bounces up the banking in 3 and 4.
That's the Trans-Service ride. The house car. Trevor Perry leading from shotgun on the field with Garrett Smithley.
Oh, there's contact. Bennett's around. Bennett's around in the infield after contact. He's going to save it. Oh, what a save.
Yeah, they got off the racetrack. Oh, Trevor Perry's super loose. Craig Arvanitas gives him the bumper a little bit into turn 1. Moves him out of the way. The bump and run at Daytona.
The bump and run. They're 3 wide. 3 wide for the lead. Here comes Justin Botello. Justin Botello's entered the pictures. They're still 3 wide into 3. Coming to take the white flag.
Absolutely insane. Where did Nick Holland come from?
Oh my
Nick
God.
Holland on the outside. Craig Arvanitas on the inside. It's a dead heat across the line. White flag in the air. Final lap of the Firecracker 200.
We will
an unsponsored STP car, just like Richard Petty down the bottom. Trevor Perry watching and stalking these two, trying to make the move. Does he go below the yellow line again? Oh, he gets super loose.
Oh, that's not going to work.
No.
They'll spin.
They turn
They're going to blow over. Botello through. Botello is through. Oh my God! Justin Botello is through, but don't forget about Jake Poulin. Poulin with the head of steam through 3 and 4. Can he track down Justin Botello for the Firecracker?
He's got to run.
He's going to have one chance at it. Where's he going to go? Down to the line. Botello down low. Poulin up top. It's going to be Jake Poulin across the line to win it. Oh my goodness, what a finish. How do you like that?
Unbelievable.
On a borrowed steering wheel, Jake Poulin didn't think you could race Parker today. Sent me a message and said, I can't race. My steering wheel's broken. We had to give him an end of the line for changing equipment. Unbelievable.
My gosh.
My heart is pounding right now, guys. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, but that is unbelievable.
I'm speechless. Absolutely speechless. The way that all went down, I mean, new players every lap involved.
You knew as soon as they tried to go 3 wide down the back straightaway that wasn't going to work. They're just too close together, too weeble-wobbly. And Botello got through. But all the time in the grass really slowed him down as we see a couple of blowovers here. Botello going through the grass slowed him down. Poulin never had to lift, and he caught him. And Botello was absolutely defenseless on the run to the checkered flag. There's nothing he could do.
And David, how fitting. What's on that car?
Oh, boy, oh, boy. Exactly right. Papyrus. Unbelievable. We talked about that paint scheme throughout Fire Weeks, and Jake Poulin, a dev for iRacing, paying a little homage to the predecessor, and goes to victory lane in the Firecracker 200. What a sweet tribute, a sweet finish for Jake Poulin, an absolute heartbreak for so many drivers in those last 2 laps.
And that Ventrac blowover count, it's going to have to go up by at least 2 because we saw the 43 there as well. Flip over in a blowover down the backstretch. That was, wow. that was, yeah, there you go, up to 6. So, wow.
I'm glad we have tomorrow off because I don't have a voice left. I
Yeah.
need a day to recover.
We're gonna have to take tomorrow off, but really quick, let's get our winner in the booth here. Jake Polin, the winner of the Firecracker 200. Did you think on taking the white flag? Did you think that you had a shot at winning this race?
Oh man, I thought I had a shot, but when I was coming off of turn 2 and I had to check up, I thought, well, the only hope now is if they all wreck, and here we are.
Jakey, baby, you did it representing FTF Racing Leagues. You did it, man. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you for that win. And the seas parted and you were in the right position. Just what does it mean to you to win this race?
It means so much. Like, I tried so hard to get into the main racing qualifying. Couldn't get it done there, but I'm just at a loss for words right now.
You got Papyrus on the car, man. Talk about that.
Well, Papyrus is actually the precursor company to iRacing, which is the company I'm so proud to work for. And yeah, I just thought it was appropriate that since we're running a throwback race here, we break out the old logo. I really want to thank Ryan Williams, graphic designer for Junior Motorsports, for fitting me this car. Looks awesome. I also want to thank Kevin McAdams for the awesome setup.
That last lap there, you see this wreck happen in front of you. You're trying to avoid all this, and then going through 3 and 4, you've got Justin Botello there in front of you, and you start to catch him. What was going through your mind, and how did you decide to go high and not low and make the move you did?
I think the obvious move was to dive to the apron, and I think he was going to be ready to block that. And I felt like I had enough of a run to where I could just sweep by on the outside. And I just want to thank him for not blocking me as hard as he did. Earn a lot of respect for Justin Botello today.
That's awesome. Well, one thing you mentioned is how hard you try to get into the Firecracker 400, but how have you enjoyed this event? You just won $500. You talked about you work for iRacing. You wanted to throw it back to Papyrus. What have you enjoyed about this event?
I just thought it was really fun to, the open setups really made the race feel like a real race from back in the 80s. We were all spread out there at times. You had to lift off the gas. We were running the least amount of spoiler as we could. And it was just really fun to drive.
Oh, Jake, I'll ask you this. This will be the last question for me. Where does this stack up in your entire sim racing career? I know you got a lot of years doing this stuff, and we've raced with each other for a long time. Where does this stack up?
Man, I've won a couple of Daytona races in my day, but this one is definitely takes the #1 spot by a long shot.
There you go. That's your winner, Jake Poulin, man. Congratulations. Firecracker 200 winner. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Unbelievable, Jake Poulin. What a final lap. Finishing second, right behind him, who we thought had it going through 3 and 4 until we realized that he had lost the momentum. Justin Botello, at what point did you think you were in trouble, or did you know you were in trouble coming off of turn 4 there?
Yeah, I was like right off of turn 4. He had so much momentum, and I couldn't believe I was in that situation. First of all, I was kind of in shock. I was shaking like crazy. But congrats to Jake, man. He ran a great race, great last lap for him, and it was really cool.
That was incredible.
Jabo, a great run for you, man. You've been known to win these big races. Of course, Monza Madness comes to mind, and it looked like you were in line to get another big one notched here. Seen you battling with Trevor Perry as well. Outrun Esports very well represented in this race. And you made that run through the crash. What was going through your mind when you saw all of them spinning in front of you?
I have no idea. I was just shaking. I went through the grass. I thought it was over. I didn't even think I was going to be up there with all that damage I had. So, I was just fortunate to be up there. That was crazy. I was shaking the whole last lap. I thought I was going to win it, but I didn't want to block, and I didn't want to make it, very aggressive move there. I thought just staying on the bottom, I was going to be fine, but he had such a run, and these cars are so different, and I thought it was great. So, My spotters got me through that wreck too. They did a great job, but it was a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for putting this on. It was a blast.
Thanks, Justin.
Do we get a yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Appreciate it, J-Bo. Guy always performs on the grandest stages. As we'll look at our rundown here in just a minute from the Firecracker 200. Jake Pullen, your winner. Who would have guessed? Any one of us? I don't. Did anybody have money on Pullen?
I mean, personally, when I look through the field, I like, it was my favorite paint scheme of Fire Weeks. I can't say I would have bet money on him, but I'm, if I got to speak selfishly, it puts a smile on my face to see somebody who I have such a good history with go to victory lane. J-Bo gets second. Andy Hunter in third. Steph Marinac in fourth. Kyle Trudell fifth. Dylan Thomas in sixth. Peter Bennett, who was leading late, doesn't bring it home in victory lane, but still a seventh place finish.
In a moment, we're going to get Peter in here because we do want to hear about that final restart. Obviously,
absolutely.
Marshall Gable, Brian Mullen. None of our favorites in the top 11 there. Alex Kolonix, obviously. Alex Kolonix, our first driver of that top group that pretty much led the entire race. Mike Razimus, Blake Reynolds there, Parker.
Yeah, Ronman, Nick Holland, Trevor Perry, who was up there late fighting with Nick Holland, and they all got together on that last lap coming off turn 2. Brett Punkari, Nicholas Morse, who, was at the front of the field, the back of the field, then the front of the field again, then found himself involved in a wreck. Keith Jeffrey with that great mustache, Christian Sanford, the Ventrac car, and Will Weber rounding out in 22nd.
It was Colton Harvey there in 23rd. All these cars a lap down. Kenny Kibbe, 24th. Blake McCandless started 6th and finished 5 laps off the pace. Just could not catch a break all night in 25th. Devin Henry, Aaron McEachern, Caden Rush, Brandon Mirza, and Nathan Rabity rounds out the top 30.
Yeah, there's a lot of wrecked cars here as we finish out the lineup. Mitchell Hunt, obviously your pole sitter. Garrett Smithley in the Radius House car. Michael Jeans wrapped up in that on in an early instance. Gilles Chatelain coming from Switzerland. Hate to see that. Tom Abramitis, Shane Iliff, Gary Sexton from Elliott Sadler Esports wrecked out early. Gary Cronowit, Aaron Smith, Matt Everhart, Logan Hagerman. These are all drivers that had a tough break in the Firecracker 400 event. They're happy they made it this far. One guy that I know is extremely happy to have made it as far as he's made it is Peter Bennett. Peter, you led us to the field on the final restart. What was going through your mind?
Well, everything, absolutely everything. We had, first thing that came to mind, I had Trevor on fresh tyres, 2 positions behind me, starting in P3. I think Craig, he started in P2 behind me. I think he was also on fresh tyres. I knew someone was going to make that move up on the apron. Obviously, that was Trevor. I didn't want to defend it too hard from him, purely because he is my teammate. So my idea was to defend from Craig on the outside. I started to drop back a little bit, so I just wanted to slot in behind someone. Oh my God, what a race. My heart rate, again, 180 plus.
Wow. Oh my God, Peter.
And that near miss, that just sent me, I can't speak. I'm so struggling to speak right now. It was an immense race. You guys have done a fantastic job. We started off towards the back. It was my intention to run towards the back for most of the race, play the tyre game. You probably saw me on the outside. I think I stayed out on one of the pits and I was restarting around about P6. I started to drop back on the outside again. All I was trying to do there was to drop to the back of the lead pack. That's generally what I do in iRacing, because it gives me that bumper between the lead pack and the pack behind, to that if there is a wreck, I've got that little bit of a safety net to check up. And then we had a couple of small issues. I think the early caution that didn't come out ended up sending me like half a lap down for a bit, but we pulled it back a little bit, and then me and Garrett had a nice little bit of a hack at the back. He was pushing me hard. I was getting a little loose, but what a fantastic race. I can't say enough, guys. Thank you very much.
Great job, man. And just real quick, you're over in England racing right now. So what time is it? Are you going to get any sleep considering you had to take a day off from work for the first round of qualifying? I mean, are you going to make it to work tomorrow?
No, I've got tomorrow off as well. No, I had the forethought of booking that off. I mean, I'm genuinely good at getting sleep, but after that, I probably won't be able to get to sleep, to be fair. Yeah.
Well, great job, bud. Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it. Great finish. Excellent. Great show you put on, and look forward to seeing you in our event, man. I'm sure you and I will be talking.
Definitely. Cheers, guys.
Good job, Pete.
Cheers. All right. Well, Kim Kuhn, what do you got for us? What's Twitter saying?
Well, first of all, I want to reiterate that anything can happen at Daytona. Jake Pullen restarted 13th before he took the checkers, and fans really loving what they saw, specifically those last few laps. Trey Kesey on Twitter said, well, that finish had me hollering and off my feet. One of the best races I've ever watched, real or virtual. Unbelievable. Hashtag Firecracker 200. Can't wait for Wednesday. Shout out to Landon, Parker, and David for the great broadcast. And then we've got another tweet from one of our sponsors, actually, making them happy. Blue Emu saying the hashtag Firecracker 200 lived up to its name. Incredible race with a fantastic broadcast crew. So lots of happy viewers this evening. I'm excited to be back on Wednesday. Thank you guys for having me. Excited to be back for the hashtag Firecracker 400. I grew up in Central Florida, so I grew up going to the actual Firecracker 400. So it's nice to be doing it virtually.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it. It's been great stuff. You're a great addition to this broadcast team. As I said earlier, bringing some actual professionalism to this trio of misfits here in the booth. But, guys, this was an absolute incredible appetizer to the Firecracker 400, and I cannot wait for Wednesday.
Absolutely, Parker. I mean, it's going to be incredible. Oh, man. I mean, the money is going up. The competition is going up. The laps are doubling. Everything's going to be more intense, David.
I don't know how much more we can take. I'm glad we got tomorrow off. I need to recover my voice because if I'm going to be screaming and hollering like that again, I need a day to recover. What a race. An inauspicious start, having the big wreck on lap 2. Didn't really know what we were going to see after that, the mood that it set, but boy, oh boy. We wrapped this thing up with one hell of a finish, and I swear you are not going to find a much better finish in sim racing than what we were treated to tonight, and perhaps, just perhaps, we'll see it again on Wednesday.
All right, folks. Well, David Shieldhouse, Parker Kligerman, I'm Landon Cassill, and this is E-Racer. This is the Firecracker 400. Tune in with us on Wednesday, July 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern. You will see it. You'll see Dale Earnhardt Jr. starting last. You'll see Joseph Galata starting on the pole, and you'll see a whole mess of eNASCAR drivers and iRacing superstars in between, underdogs, the big stories, everything. We've got a great show lined up for you guys with the NASCAR Hall of Fame, providing some wonderful historic content that you'll get to see. Everybody, you know that I love you. Good night. Enjoy this show right here, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
At this point in the season, which is exactly halfway through the year, each of the drivers has learned to play his particular role and play it very well. For example, Dale Earnhardt, he's the tough guy, mean and feared, and he likes it that way. Today, he starts from 5th place. Or how about Darrell Waldrop, current national champion? Typecast is brash and outspoken, while off camera he shows a softer side. After blowing an engine in practice, he'll start 23rd. Bill Elliott, last year's leading man with win after win. This year he seemed to have mislaid the script until suddenly he won big 3 weeks ago. Today he starts 2nd.
The car is rumbling out of turn 4 into the tri-oval. The pace car is away, and the Firecracker 400 is moments away from receiving the green flag.
Not show up on the board, but he has been very much a factor in this whole thing.
The 2.5-mile track.
And now they run it flat out without as much as even backing off of the turns. Watch as Dale Earnhardt in car number 3.
The leader right now is Ken Schrader. White flag is out. They're in the final lap.